We decided to do groups to start with to help with numbers. They had about 40 seconds max before we'd keep swapping. It was like Christmas Day on repeat for me. I love it.
As you can imagine, Bonnie Blue is back in the media, and she sat down with The Sun to do an interview. Now, many people in the comment sections are just straight off the bat absolutely brutal. Why the hell is she getting interviewed? We're doomed, mate. Stop giving her a platform. She should be banned from travelling. Bonnie Blue sounds like a professional, and she looks professional. She's so evil. Why do we make people like that famous? Right, so as you can imagine, this is the kind of thing that we're dealing with, and I know that you love to see her because the views completely reflect that, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that's exactly what this is for, right? I don't want to talk about her any less than you want to hear about her, but the scandals and the craziness is absolutely insane. So like I said, she's dropped a 10-minute interview with The Sun. Now, people in the comment section of my last Bonnie Blue video were like, you need to check this out because it is so bizarre. So we're going to check it out, and we're going to dive into it, and we're going to see what we make of it, because apparently it's an absolute whirlwind. So obviously, the first thing that she goes on to talk about is how, she slept with 1,000 men, including probably your husband and your son, right? That is her first opening line. Let's have a little listen to that because it's absolutely bizarre. Before we get into it, though, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go.
We decided to do groups to start. Probably your husband and your son. I loved it. Hi, I'm Bonnie Blue. I slept with over 1,000 men, including probably your husband and your son.
Imagine that being your opening sentence, right? That is the opening sentence. Oh, I'm Bonnie Blue. I slept with, 1,000 men, probably your husband and your son too. Fucking deal with it. Like, that is absolutely bonkers. Now, moving forward, she talks about how TikTok inspired her adult content. So, TikTok's got a lot to answer for, right? Like, a hell of a lot to answer for. But I didn't think that we'd, be asking the questions of this. Here we go.
Started by scrolling on TikTok, and I kept seeing, I guess my first way into adult work was camming, speaking. But these girls, all different body shapes, types, different backgrounds, saying how they was earning money from speaking to guys on their laptops at any time of the day. And my husband at the time was always been very open in terms of communication. I spoke to him about it straight away, and he probably was listening and watching the TikToks with me. So it wasn't okay, I want to sit you down because I want to, work in the adult industry. And he was so focused on my happiness. He knew, okay, the options was I go back into recruitment, sitting in an office 9 till 5, or I sit at home and I do camming, and it means I can go to the beach during the day and I have more control over my earnings. So it was never a question of, okay, should I do it? It was okay, when should I start?
To be fair, right, it's a respectful thing. Everyone wants to be their own boss. Everyone wants to work their own hours. Everyone wants to kind of dictate their own lives. And obviously, more power to those people, in my opinion, right? I love that people can take control of their lives and that's what they want to do. But there is lines to this, isn't there? She could have done this without being the dog that she is. She didn't have to go and sleep with 1,000 guys. She didn't have to, rage bait the internet. But obviously, that's where the money's at. That is just where the money's at. And, she knows her niche. She knows her audience. Rage bait and outlandish comments and stuff like that are what have made her incredibly infamous. I was going to say popular, but I don't think she's exactly popular. But just to double down on that, she talks then about how much she's earned just in the last 30 days alone from the time of her sitting down and doing this podcast or this interview. It's eye-watering.
Start of June, I decided to set up OnlyFans. In the last 30 days, I made 1.5 million. I'd like to be earning 5 million a month. But if that ever came at a cost where my pleasure went or my enjoyment went, I would not be chasing it. It's not, the goal is happiness, freedom, and doing what I want to do. But
I'm in the wrong line of work. If she's looking at 1.5 million in the last 30 days alone, and her goal is to make 5 million a month, where am I going wrong? Why? Oh, that's just that. You've got to take your hat off to that, right? You've got to tip your hat and say, fair fucking play. Yes, the things she does is degenerate. Yes, the things that she does is, incredibly rage bait. And it's, obviously she works and thrives off of upsetting people and getting that negative reaction. But she's getting paid 1.5 mil now. and, looking at getting paid 5 mil or hoping to. I would also take all of the shit that she gets online for 5 mil a month. I don't think anyone watching this video would be like, do you know what? It's not worth the money. It's not worth the money. Like, she's doing something that she claims to love. She also says that she's doing it for all the right reasons and that she's doing it for the sake of women empowerment and all the rest of it, but I don't believe that for a second. She's just taking home the bag. Anyway, she then goes on to talk about how, she's apparently changed the game. All right, so, I mean, there's no denying that she probably has, but let's listen to what she's got to say.
Money, but that is not the whole goal and purpose here. I've created the game, basically. I have changed and completely changed the industry, to put it simply. No one was doing what I've done. I started these stunts, that's what we're going to call them, like back in November, and I've continued to do them every few months. Nothing has changed, no matter what other people are doing in the industry. It's like I do this because I enjoy it, which is why you always see me so happy and passionate about the work I do. And near enough every month I do some sort of stunt, and I'll continue to do that. So when I did the students in the
There you are. So she obviously then goes on to talk about the students and stuff, which was very well trodden ground, right? But she talks about how she's changed the game, and to be fair, she kinda has, but not in a good way. So OnlyFans and OF creators and content was really frowned upon already up until this point. No one really wanted to admit that they were an OF creator. And it was like, if you said that you make money online, instantly everyone's thought process is you're an OnlyFans creator, and it was really stigmatized. It was a big problem, and I feel like Bonnie Blue, with the antics that she's done, has really not helped that case at all. She's taken the stigma and she's amplified it tenfold, maybe even 100-fold. Because now, when I think of OF, I think of the creators like Bonnie Blue, like Lily Phillips, like Katie Robertson, who do these really fucking outlandish things that should not be normalized, but then get normalized, like sleeping with, quote, barely legal teens. Even going a step further, I saw a clip recently where she stated that barely legal wasn't even close enough. She wants to sleep with them on midnight of their birthday, so that they are freshly barely legal. Those kind of antics are going to land you in a lot of hot water and a lot of trouble. And it makes, I feel like it kind of goes against the point that Bonnie Blue was trying to do, right? Which was obviously this whole women empowerment. I'm all for women empowerment. I'm all for women, being strong, independent people, and that's how society should be. It shouldn't be a male-dominated world. It should be if anything, men are idiots. We shouldn't be fucking running anything. We couldn't even run a piss up in a brewery. But it kind of goes, this kind of detracts from women empowerment, because a lot of people, she's objectifying herself to a degree by making herself a sex object, and she's calling that women empowerment. I don't know, maybe women out there, do you disagree with me? Do you think that she is? That's just my opinions from how I see it as a male, and someone who lives in a household that is women heavy, right? In the sense that I've got 2 daughters and a wife, soon to be wife, right? Or 2 stepdaughters, but same difference. You know what I'm saying? It's a woman heavy house, so I'm all for that kind of stuff. Anyway, she then goes on to talk about the infamous 1000 guy event and how that kind of ran. Can
you just talk me through the day and the logistics of it, I suppose?
Yeah, surprisingly it went very, very well, because I was concerned at one point I was going to have more staff than people to bunk me. So I was definitely pleased when I realised there was a massive queue 2 hours before. I had security outside of the house. There was security as soon as you come in. There was then a basement, which was they could wait, have drinks. So they had to wear protection. They got told they could wear a ski mask if they wanted to hide their face. They had to bring ID, sign a consent form. And that's as far as the sort of background checks went. We decided to do groups to start with, to help with numbers and also give people an ease in, because they're seeing other people. They can also watch while somebody else is taking their turn, because a lot of people enjoy that. Then we went on to one-to-one, and they had about 40 seconds max before we'd keep swapping. Then we a few hours into that, we went back to groups for a little bit, then back to one-on-ones. and we finished with another big group. So some of them would come in and say, hey, I'm with my friends, can we come in together? And it would just whatever made them feel most comfortable. I had to go for like 2 or 3 toilet breaks, and I would the toilet was upstairs, so I'd run upstairs, and I've never ran down the stairs so quickly and been so excited to get going again, because I'd see all their faces of there's no other way of explaining it other than just pure happiness I got from that day. So there was no point I wanted to stop. And even when it ended, I was like happy because it had been the most successful day, everyone had an amazing time. But I was like, okay, wow, I want to do that again. I thought it'd be a thing I'd do once and not consider again. And I even joked, I was like, shall we make this a weekly thing?
What do you think she's telling the truth there? Do you think she truly enjoyed it that much? Genuinely, I don't know. Just kind of reading her body language, I kind of got the vibe that she was not necessarily believing what she was saying, and it was more she has to say it kind of to back up this persona that she's got. That's just my opinion. But then, obviously, the whole pregnancy rumor thing came around, which was arguably one of the craziest things to happen with these OF creators. Everyone was suddenly pregnant, and it was crazy and it was bizarre. Bonnie Blue was going to live stream it, if you remember, which was again bizarre.
Started this rumor saying I was rumored to be pregnant, and then it sort of went quite viral on TikTok. Everyone was saying Bonnie Blue's pregnant from the 1,000 men. And the news started contacting me for comments. And at the time, I hadn't seen these TikToks. I was like, look, I don't know what they're on about. I don't know what they're talking about. And then when I looked into it and I went on TikTok and saw there was, hundreds of TikToks saying I was pregnant, we decided just to reply with no comment. It was like, we just won't respond. And then a few days had gone past. And I was like, actually, why don't we use this to our advantage? Why don't I hint the fact I'm pregnant? Because the media is already doing that. Why don't I actually take control from this and feel empowered from it, as opposed to letting the media run with stories which aren't correct? So I then posted a photo of a pickle covered in chocolate and tried silly food combinations, obviously hinting at the fact I was pregnant. And I worded things very cleverly to make it, like I said, hint that I was pregnant, but never once said, hey, I'm pregnant.
So obviously she says, she's already said in videos and stuff that she's not pregnant, but she was using this as a tactic to make money. And apparently she's gone through some IVF troubles and all the rest of it. So she wanted to pay for someone's IVF journey off the back of the money that she made from this whole scandal. Now, I've got to say, if that comes to fruition, and if she's genuinely done that, again, fair play. All right? Yeah, the media goes crazy. And to be fair, she's used it. She's not exactly done massive things wrong. A lot of people would argue and have argued that, people can't get pregnant, and she's kind of made a bit of a mockery of that. But then, if she does pay for someone's IVF journey, I'll sit here and I'll say, fair enough. As of right now, there is no proof that she's actually done that, right, by the way. So, I'm not going to give her any props until that actually becomes a thing. But the last thing that she kind of talks about a bit more heavily is hate online. Now, obviously, Bonnie Blue is kind of she's made a rod for her own back. She's her own worst villain when it comes to hate, and she can't exactly avoid it. Now, you could be the nicest person on the internet, you're gonna get hate. You could be the most wholesome, genuine person, you're going to get some form of hate. Bonnie Blue goes out there to antagonize and provoke people. She's going to get a negative repercussion or reaction. That's just a given. So the question is, well, how does she handle that? Let's hear what she has to say.
Categories, to be honest. There's some hate about my body and the way I look. And I look at them, then it makes me judge that person. I'm looking at them thinking, a lot of them it's about my age, and they're like, oh God, she looks so much older than me. They've got missing teeth, the hair looks like it could do doing, and they look like they live in a terrible place. I'm like, how are you judging me? It's more of a reflection on them for being so miserable. I'd say the most hurtful ones are the ones about my family. I know my mum before was like, oh, she must not have a family, she must lie about having a supportive mum and dad. And I once brought my mum along with on an interview with me. And then it was suddenly, okay, she does have a mum, so, her mum failed her, or her mum must have been abused, or she must force her daughter to do this. So you really can't win. So they're the hurtful ones, but it also just show me why even try and justify the comments, because no matter what you do, you can't win. And I don't need to win. I'm already winning by pleasuring their husbands and their son and being a millionaire, supporting my family. No, like I never had a big friendship group.
That's just how, like, obviously that's why she gets these negative, like, reactions, because she'll say these things and then it's like, well, I pleasured your son and your husband at the same time, so oh, it's just great. What do you guys think of this? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Whoever told me that I needed to watch that, thank you, because it's actually provided a lot of insight into a lot of things with regards to this person. And it's, you know, given some, well, like, just interesting questions. Let me know what you guys think about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to jump scare the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.